What is poppin' YouTube? We are back again. You know what? We are so pumped here as a channel. Tonight is football is back. Fantasy football is back. Setting our lineups is back. And so if you haven't checked out the video from yesterday, we talked about my top rankings for running backs for this week 1. And today we are jumping into wide receivers. And you know what? I will say this. There's a lot of wide receivers. There's a lot to talk about. This is going to be a long video. So there are timestamps. If you want to jump around, feel free because I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here talking about all these wide receivers. And if you haven't already, what are you doing? Please subscribe, like down below. It helps me out so much as a channel, as we're trying to grow, as we continue to provide this content for you guys to help win your fantasy leagues, because that is our singular focus, and to create a community of people that just love fantasy football. I know there are a few other communities out there, but I think mine is special because we're just growing it. So if you want to be here from the ground up, click that subscribe button below. I appreciate you guys so much. So, of course, without further ado, my wide receiver 1 is going to be Cooper Kupp. Now, Cooper Kupp is playing the Bills. They are the 9th ranked defense, according to Fantasy Pros, coming into this week. So, enough to be said. Cooper Kupp was the wide receiver 1 last year on a points per game basis. We're excited to see him with Matthew Stafford. We assume that elbow injury that Matthew Stafford has been kind of battling is going to be okay. Just going to be a high-scoring game, and Cooper Kupp, he is elite. My wide receiver 2 is going to be Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is playing the Green Bay Packers. They are the 15th ranked D coming into this week, according to Fantasy Pros. They got the new revamped offense with the new offensive coordinator. They're going to be changing a few things up, so I'm really excited about Dalvin Cook this week as well as, of course, Justin Jefferson. I think we're all expecting him to take that next step, which he's just been progressing, and he's going to, I think, just cement himself as the youngest superstar wide receiver, kind of like what Odell Beckham did back in 2014. My wide receiver 3 is going to be Jamar Chase. They are playing the Pittsburgh defense, which, according to Fantasy Pros, is the 19th best defense of this week. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for the Cincinnati Bengals to score. I think we're really going to see that new and improved offensive line on display. More time for Joe Burrow to sit back there in the pocket and launch it to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase, what a solid talent. And you drafted him in the first round, so of course you're playing him. My wide receiver 4 is going to be CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are taking on, or the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which are ranked the 12th ranked defense. Who is Dak Prescott going to throw to? It's him and Dalton Schultz. I'm really excited to see CeeDee Lamb emerge this year as an alpha, take control, get somewhere between the 25 to 30% target share. And this all starts here on week 1. So I have him as my wide receiver 4. My wide receiver 5 is going to be Deebo Samuel. The San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Bears, which are the 23rd ranked defense. Of course, we just expect Trey Lance and the 49ers to really get that heads up and really just win the game whole-handedly, and I think that really goes well for Deebo. You're just hoping that he gets those touches in that first half, because second half they might be up and they might just be pounding the ball to drain the clock. So, and of course we don't know necessarily what Trey Lance is going to be. So all things considered, that is why I have Deebo Samuel as my wide receiver 5 for this week. My wide receiver 6 is going to be Devontae Adams, playing with the new team, playing with Derek Carr, playing against the Los Angeles Chargers, which are the 24th, which are going to be ranked the 14th ranked defense according to Fantasy Pros for this week. The thing that I will say about this game, it's going to be high scoring because you have 2 elite level offenses. I know that the defenses can be said, it's kind of hard to, for us to be talking about this going into week 1. We haven't seen anything on the table, but a lot can be said about how the defenses on a week to week basis are playing the same thing. Or on a season to season, they don't change that many players. So it'll be exciting to see that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. And I think Devontae Adams will put up his typical stats, even if he's with a new quarterback. He's going to be a lot less double coverages and things along that nature for this game, with him and Darren Waller being healthy. My wide receiver 7 is going to be Stefon Diggs, playing there on Thursday night fantasy football, playing against the Rams. I think Stefon Diggs might remind us why we should have been drafting him at the back end of the first. I haven't drafted a ton of Stefon Diggs because he never falls to me, and that is super upsetting. And so I'm really not hoping he does that great. But if he is on your team, I hope for you that he does do great. Stefon Diggs, of course, playing the Rams. They are the 18th ranked defense according to Fantasy Pros for this week. So what's he going to do? Josh Allen versus Matthew Stafford. You got 2 high-powered offenses. Stefon Diggs is going to ball out. Stefon Diggs is going to ball out. And like I said, we're kind of doing these rankings. So that is my elite tier. If you have any disagreements, bro, you drafted these guys in the first or second round, you're playing them. So my wide receiver 9, what is this, 9? Yeah, no. My wide receiver 8 is going to be Mike Evans. They're playing the Cowboys, 21st ranked defense for the Cowboys, according to Fantasy Pros. All I can say is Julio Jones they're saying that he's back to looking like his old self. That's cool, but like give him 4 or 5 games, that hamstring's gonna be bothering him. Chris Godwin, even though I really love me some Chris Godwin this year, even if I have him in a lot of my leagues, I'm not starting this week. I want to see it to believe it. Let him regain that first 2-3 weeks before I end up putting Chris Godwin in the game. So all signs point to Mike Evans getting somewhere around a 25% target share. Super strong. You probably drafted him in the back end of the second, early third rounds. And if you did, of cool, he is starting for you. But that is why I have him there as my wide receiver 8. My wide receiver 9 is going to be T. Higgins. Same exact reason I was talking about Jamar Chase playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, having the 19th ranked defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they're going to ball out. The offensive line is going to be there. Excited for T. Higgins. And if you look at like the splits last year, like it really wasn't that far off from Jamar Chase on a points per game basis. So there's no reason to think that that's not going to happen again this year, but we're talking week 1 only. And Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, excited for him. I'm a big T. Higgins believer this year. My wide receiver, this is my wide receiver. I keep miscounting, but my wide receiver 10 is going to be Mike Williams for the Chargers. They're playing against the Raiders. Same exact reason I was talking about Devontae Adams. I really like Mike Williams for the same thing. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. You got Mike Williams playing against the Raiders. They are projected to be the 23rd ranked defense this week, according to Fantasy Pros. I think this is the year that Mike Williams supplants Keenan Allen as the wide receiver 1 for the Los Angeles Chargers. So excited to get to go have those end zone opportunities. I know he's playing. The cornerback is like almost like 40 pounds lighter than him and almost like 4 inches shorter. So I think there's going to be a lot of room in the end zone for Mike Williams to get some targets. After that, we got Tyreek Hill still in the very good tier. Tyreek Hill is playing the Patriots. They are the 13th ranked defense. We just want to see. We want to see. I think Tyreek Hill, you could make an easy case to see that he could be maybe in that elite tier to even be at the top of the very good tier. I just think the problem for me when I look at Tyreek Hill, we haven't seen it. New quarterback. We want to see that situation. So you could argue that, okay, then why didn't I say that for Devontae Adams? I just think Devontae Adams, with that college level production that he put up with Derek Carr, as well as having just the weapons around him with Hunter Renfrow and Jalen Waddle, like I think they are better than Jalen Waddle and potentially like Mike Gesicki, even though I'm not saying Jalen Waddle is better than like Hunter Renfrow. Like I'm not saying that at all. Like I still think I prefer Jalen Waddle even over Darren Waller, but that is null and void to what this whole point is. Tyreek Hill, excited to see him get back out there on the field. We're going to take a small break just to appreciate that I'm wearing a tank, that I'm flexing here for you boys. And you know, if there's any women in here, I appreciate you being here too. Like I said, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys being here. It really helps me out as a channel. My next wide receiver is going to be A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, the Eagles are playing the Detroit Lions. They are the 31st ranked defense. Big news out of Detroit is that they sold out that whole game, which hasn't happened like in a long time. So that is super exciting for Detroit fans. Are getting excited about their team again. The one thing that I wanted to harp on with A.J. Brown, everyone's worried about his targets this year. Like, don't worry about it. Like, he was very hyper efficient with the Tennessee Titans. No reason to think that's not going to happen again here with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just think the upsides may be a little bit capped. I want to see the new team. I want to see how Jalen Hurts looks before we start pushing A.J. Brown up into our week-to-week ranks. And yeah, they're playing a pretty bad, like I said, bad defense. So this could turn really good for A.J. Brown. If he is your wide receiver 2, you feel really good. If he's your wide receiver 1, you still feel pretty good. Maybe not as good as if you're going against someone that has like Stefon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, or Jamar Chase. My next wide receiver in the very good tier. I lost count of how many this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. My wide receiver 13 is going to be Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is just, we've heard all offseason that this is going to be the year 3 breakout. And then Matt Ryan loves targeting his wide receiver 1. So Michael Pittman's going to have to prove it to us first, and that's also why I have him a little bit lower. They are playing the Texans, which are ranked the 32nd defense. So if there is a week for Michael Pittman to break out, this would be the week. It's going to be a slaughterhouse for the Colts. So if you're a Colts fan, it's a good win here for the Colts that are about to happen. We just don't know what's going to happen for a fantasy production standpoint for Michael Pittman. But that is why I have Michael Pittman right there. My next wide receiver is going to be Hollywood Brown. Love me some Hollywood Brown this week. I know there's maybe some wide receivers that you drafted ahead of Hollywood Brown that are now falling behind. I just really like them for this week. They're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, 16th ranked defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. The thing that we have to remember about this, it's going to be a high-scoring game between Kyler and Patrick Mahomes. And the Arizona Cardinals, there is even a chance, so DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to be playing, as well as a chance that Zach Ertz actually sits out this game. Like I said, I'm recording this right now on Wednesday night. This will be coming out on Thursday, so we might have some clarifications by then. But if Hollywood Brown is really the only, like, the major 1A, which he is currently the 1A, but there's not even, like, a second really great option. Like, I'm all in on Hollywood Brown. Could even see him getting pushed up ahead of Tyreek Hill in my rankings for this week. I'm just excited to see Hollywood Brown reunite with his college quarterback in Kyler Murray. And the thing is, he was really great when he was targeted deep last season, but it just he didn't get there. I forget what his like unrealized air yards were, but it was super high. So if he can get just a few of those, we might be looking at a guy that has the potential to have like a Stefon Diggs type comeback. That like when Stefon Diggs joined the Bills, like the same thing could happen for Hollywood. I'm not saying that he's upgrading quarterback because Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback, but sometimes all you need is a little bit of a change of scenery, and that is all it takes for you to become a fantasy star. So we're going to just like make this faster because I know we're already 10 minutes into the video, but my above average guys, we have DJ Moore. DJ Moore is playing the Browns. They are the 6th ranked defense. I have Terry McLaurin playing the Jags, 22nd ranked defense. Deontay Johnson is currently like, there's having some sort of like shoulder arm injury. So we don't necessarily know, like I said, if he's going to be playing or not. We assume he's going to be playing. So that's why we have him in our rankings playing the Bengals with the 7th ranked defense. We have Jalen Waddle with the 13th ranked defense against the Pats. We have Cortland Sutton against the Seahawks, which are the 28th ranked defense. We have Allen Robinson playing against the Bills, 9th ranked defense. I really love me some A-Rob this year. I think Robert Woods was like the wide receiver 11 on the whole season, like by week 8. No reason to say that Allen Robinson can't do the same thing, getting 8 to 10 targets from Matthew Stafford, the best quarterback he's ever played with. And then we have Brandon Cooks playing against Indy, which is ranked, the Indianapolis Colts defense for this week is ranked as the 5th best defense. Of course, they think they're going to slaughter the Texans, but if they're slaughtering them, typical Brandon Cooks fashion, only has 5 to 6 points in the first half. You're feeling like you made a mistake, and then puts like 15 points up in garbage time, ends up with 20 to 21 points, and you are feeling good about yourself. I also did not talk when I'm making these rankings. This is for full PPR, so just understand that as well. That's kind of the thinking we go. So like could maybe even explain, like if we're talking like standard leagues, like maybe Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown get pushed up the board. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but if you're still here at 12 minutes, appreciate you. Like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet and you are jumping around finding your players, want to hear the takes, then that is totally fine. Just make sure you like and subscribe. Helps me out so much as we're growing as a channel, trying to get to 100 subs by the beginning of next week. So we'll see if that can happen. After Brandon Cooks, we have our next tier, which is the average tier, which I have Keenan Allen starting out that tier. Now, do I think Keenan Allen is an average wide receiver? No. I just think, like I said earlier in the Mike Williams take, I just think Mike Williams is going to overtake Keenan Allen as the wide receiver 1. And this could totally make me look like an idiot. At the end of next week, you guys all might be coming back saying, man, Caleb, you made a terrible mistake choosing Mike Williams over Keenan Allen, bro. You know Keenan Allen's a stud. Like, come back, comment that on this video. Would help me out a ton just with your engagement in the algorithm. But we'll see. I'm just a little bit lower on Keenan Allen this year than consensus. They're playing the Raiders, 23rd ranked defense. Gabe Davis, who against the Rams, 18th ranked defense. For all you Gabe Davis truthers out there that have been screaming on Twitter, this is going to be your game. This is the game where all of a sudden Gabe Davis, he will either cement himself or we're going to start having to doubt, like, is Gabe Davis the actual guy that we thought he is? Stefon Diggs said today that Gabe Davis should be on your fantasy football team. So we'll take that as a good boost up. DK Metcalf against the Browns. They are the second, not DK Metcalf versus the Browns, DK Metcalf versus they're playing the Broncos, which is going to be another bloodbath. So they're going to have to throw the ball. The Seahawks, especially in the second half. So we'll see if DK Metcalf, if you drafted him in the 5th or 6th round, you're probably starting him in your flex. Are we feeling confident about that? I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident. A lot of these guys, as we kind of go, like these are like streaming flex options. So hopefully you drafted wide receiver and have some more depth to help supplant for this week. After that, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown playing against the Eagles, 11th ranked defense. Like I said earlier, we're just hoping that the Detroit Lions offense can get it together. We don't necessarily know what the target share splits between TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then what's even going to, how like DeAndre Swift's going to play into that. So a little bit reason to drop him down, even though he did finish last year so great. Looking just at week 1 against the Eagles, that is why I have him right here in this average tier. We then have Elijah Moore against the Rams. They are the 4th ranked best defense. The reason I'm not so worried about like Elijah Moore as like maybe some of the other receivers in the Jets offense is just due to the fact that Elijah Moore, when Joe Flacco has played, has produced very solid fantasy football numbers. So no reason to be scared of the Joe Flacco starting over Zach Wilson, because to be completely honest, what is the major, like it is a fall off. Like I prefer Zach Wilson, but it's not such a big fall off that we're all of a sudden very worried about Elijah Moore's status. This is an outlier, and we could say like he shouldn't be in the average tier, but is Michael Thomas. I can't put him any higher. The bro has not played a whole game in forever. I have had him on one of my dynasty teams, sitting there since 2019, won the chip, and then he has not played like essentially since. So Michael Thomas playing the Falcons, 29th ranked defense. We are excited for him on this channel. We want to push him up into our above average tier to maybe our very good tier. I don't know if that's going to happen, but Michael Thomas, that is why I have him right there. And then, of course, finishing off the average tier with Juju playing Arizona. Exact same reasons I was talking about Hollywood Brown. 26th ranked defense there for Arizona coming into this week, according to Fantasy Pros. So we are excited to see a high score shootout. And if that's the case, maybe Juju gets 10 to 12 targets and draws a touchdown. And all of a sudden we're thinking like, wow, great, awesome, putting him in your flex. But I don't know. I think sometimes when you're looking at this, like you might be having to debate, am I starting Juju or am I going to start Gabe Davis? Like there's like players like that, especially in your 12-man league. If you load it up on wide receiver, that will be in question. But I have Juju in my average tier. We are now jumping to my below average tier, even though a lot of these guys are super talented. Like they're not below average. It's just a matter of how I'm fitting them into this week because we are looking at just week 1 rankings. And from here, below average, we have starting off, we have Rashard Bateman versus the New York Jets, the 27th ranked defense. We then have Jerry Jeudy against the Seahawks. I just love me some Cortland. Love me some Cortland Sutton. I'm not a big fan of sorry about that cough, guys. Really apologize about that. I'm just not a big fan of Jerry Jeudy. I don't think he's going to be the one. And maybe this comes to bite me in the butt, and you're like, Caleb, I'm subscribing from your channel after this. But I just don't think he's going to be the guy. Ever since Russell Wilson always has loved his ex receiver, that is Cortland Sutton. And Jerry Jeudy has dealt with drops in the past. And I know there's no reason to say that because like Deontay Johnson dealt with drops in the past and became like an elite fantasy wide receiver. I just need to see it before I believe it. And so that is why I have Jerry Jeudy in my below average range. I then have Drake London. And let's also say like these guys are not necessarily below average because we are talking like our top 32 wide receivers. So it means they're still going. You're probably going to have to start them. But they announced today that Drake London was going to be the wide receiver one. He is going to be fully back healthy by week 1, which I think is exciting for anyone that has drafted Drake London, especially in your dynasty leagues, but especially in your redraft formats. I think Drake London has elite level upside, even though he is only having Marcus Mariota throwing the ball, and he's across from Kyle Pitts. They're playing the Saints, which are ranked the 3rd best defense because they are playing the Falcons. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of double teams, but I'm excited to see Drake London perform. After that, I have Robert Woods. Robert Woods versus the New York Giants, 24th ranked defense. What's that week 1 game going to come in off that ACL going to look like for Robert Woods? Because at the end of or right when he got injured last year, he was looking very dominant. And so can he get 10 targets? Because I think 10 targets for Robert Woods a game will really show this whole season. But just looking into week 1, we're a little bit more cautious on Robert Woods. You probably drafted him in the 7th or 8th round, so maybe take someone else above him. But if you have to start him, feeling okay about Robert Woods. Tyler Lockett against the Browns, 2nd ranked defense. Why do I have DK Metcalf so much higher than Tyler Lockett? To be completely fair, it's just because we've seen the connection that Tyler Lockett had with Russell Wilson, and then when it wasn't with Russell Wilson, it wasn't as good. So I just really would need to see, how does Tyler Lockett play? I think Geno Smith has been announced as a starter. So how does he play with Geno Smith or even Drew Lock this week? And they're going to be down. So they're going to have to throw a ball a lot. But can he get open even when he's playing with a not elite level quarterback? Something to keep our eye on. Chris Olave, I'm a big Buckeye guy, but we need to see him with Jameis Winston, with Michael Thomas. Like those two guys kind of performing hand in hand. Like what is that going to look like? And maybe Chris Olave, I could see him totally like burst out, be the elite level wide receiver he thought he was when he was drafted. And all of us are sitting here like, crap, I should have drafted Chris Olave over Drake London. Like I could easily see that this week 1. They're playing the Falcons, 29th ranked D. I just have him here because this is how the rankings ended up falling. Brandon Ayuk against the Bears. They are the 23rd ranked defense. There are reports already, too, that George Kittle potentially is dealing with an injury. So maybe it's going to be the Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk show. And then all of a sudden, Brandon Ayuk. I think I would probably push Brandon Ayuk at the beginning of this tier to even maybe above into the average tier. Just kind of just depends. But Brandon Ayuk, really solid wide receiver. What does it look like with Trey Lance? And yeah, after that, we have Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, like, I don't know what to think of Christian Kirk. I didn't draft like hardly any shares of Christian Kirk because I just didn't know. I was taking other wide receivers in that range. And Trevor Lawrence is a very talented quarterback. We do know Travis Etienne, James Robinson, but like they still have Marvin Jones. Like we just haven't seen, like, is he a one? When he was the one with, like, I think the problem that I have with Christian Kirk is, even though he got that massive deal, like when we've seen him he had Kyler Murray freaking throwing in the ball with DeAndre Hopkins on the other side, taking coverage away. And Christian Kirk still was not like an elite level fantasy option. So I don't know why people are all of a sudden just assuming he goes to a new team. They paid him a lot of money and then it's going to work out, because did that work out for Kenny Golladay? No. And I know that's a whole different circumstance, but I'm a little bit off Christian Kirk this year, but I have him there just because I do see maybe he catches a 60-yard bomb, takes it to the house, and all of a sudden he did produce some fantasy points for you. So that is why I have Christian Kirk right there. And then I will say this, Chris Godwin, I'm so excited for. So excited for this year. I've drafted Chris Godwin a lot. He's fallen in the 6th round in a lot of my drafts. I actually got him one time in the early 7th round. Great value. But we need to see him healthy. We need to see him running routes. I know everyone's getting excited because there's reports that he's going to be ready for this first game, and that is going to be awesome. If he can play this first game, that is going to be freaking awesome. The problem that I have with all of this is just even if he does play, is he only going to play 40% of the snaps, 50% of the snaps? Because the thing is, they're not just going to throw him in full board, knowing good and well that they have intentions of getting to the playoffs and being a Super Bowl contender. By week 4, I imagine Chris Godwin will be a lot more fully ramped. So, you know what? You probably drafted him as your wide receiver 3, your wide receiver 4, maybe even probably your wide receiver 4. And if that's the case, then you're just going to have to sit on Chris Godwin, wait, because when he does come back to being fully healthy, you might miss a game. You might miss an elite game of Chris Godwin production. The problem is, I think I'm not taking that chance super early on betting on him. I mean, I know he did walk off the field. He is a freaking super athlete, super tough guy. But those are some of my thoughts. So these are my wide receiver rankings for this week. If you haven't already, go check out my running back ranking video for yesterday. Also, we are going to be going live tonight doing some start and sits right before kickoff. So if you want to jump in with me. We'll do some start sits and hang out. But like I said already, if you haven't liked and subscribed, appreciate it. If you do, helps me out a ton. And I want you around. I want you staying here every week throughout this fantasy football season, because you know what? We're trying to just grind here together. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys watching to the end, and I will catch you guys